Good evening and welcome to Art After Dark, where you get to learn all about arts and culture in West Texas, and I get to live out my Dick Cavett fantasy. Good evening, my name is Randy Ham. I am the executive director for Odessa Arts, and tonight we are here at the Globe Theater celebrating the 10th anniversary of the Odessa Shakespeare Festival. So, this entire month we'll be talking to actors from this year's tour. And tonight joining us is Keegan Pasqua. Keenan, thank you for being here tonight.
Of course, my pleasure. Thanks.
Well, I want to start with your origin story.
Mm.
There are some things you talked about in some of the Q and A's that we're going to get to, but just very quickly, what brought you to this point where you were touring with the Texas Shakespeare Festival?
That's a great question. I suppose if I was to go all the way back, my parents put me into community theater when I was 8 for the first time. And then to fast forward a little bit, kept doing that throughout middle school, high school. And then I was trying to figure out where I wanted to go to college when I was 18 and what kind of program I wanted to go into, if I even wanted to do theater in general. And I was very lucky to have a lot of supportive people in my community who inspired me to chase the craft of acting and to pursue this magical thing that happens here on stage. And I was really wowed and excited to work with the people at Columbus State University in their acting program there. And I loved their instructors when I went for my audition there. And that's where I spent my time in college and got my BFA with them about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago.
And this is your first tour with the Texas Shakespeare Festival.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about how you were cast in this show and how you fell in with the festival in the first place.
Of course, this is a funny story, and some of my other castmates may be mad at me for this because Texas Shakes is a really well-renowned
Yeah.
organization throughout the U.S. Great classical Shakespeare festival, and they get thousands of submissions every year to be a part of their main summer acting company and do their shows. And I had always missed the deadline for submitting to Texas Shakes throughout college and just after college, but this time last year, I noticed they had their auditions open. It was actually January of this year, and there was like one more day to like submit a video, and I really quickly like cobbled together a video of monologues I had just filmed, and like I was like in my pajamas and I just pulled on like a flannel shirt to do my little interview that they want you to do in the video, and I cobbled it all together and I sent it in, and I thought, well, I'm not hearing back from them.
Right.
Like that was so ragtag. I'm not going to hear back. And then a few months later, I got an email from Megan Simpson, the artistic director, asking me to be a part of their 2025 summer season in the acting company. And I was like, well, that's just incredible. It's always the ones you don't think you'll hear back from that you wind up hearing back from. And so I did the summer season with them this past summer and loved it a lot and loved the people a lot. And so I expressed my interest to Megan to be a part of any future summer seasons or touring positions, anything like that. And she offered me this gig, and here I am.
It was like, and I've got the job for you.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. That is really it's like the old joke. What do you call the person who graduates last in medical school?
Mm,
Doctor.
hmm.
And that's just the same way. You know what? Even if you get in your audition at the last minute,
Yeah.
you're still part of the applicant pool, and you're
Yeah.
still going to get reviewed, just like everybody else.
Hmm.
But you're right. Texas Shakes is such a great, phenomenal company. We love working with them every year. Um, so you grew up in Georgia, is that correct?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
North Georgia, closer to Chattanooga, Tennessee than anything.
Oh,
But
really?
yeah, super
Yeah.
North Georgia. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just mentioning to someone else how this year's contingent of touring actors is very Southern heavy. It's
Yeah.
all pretty much Georgia and South Carolina,
Yeah.
which is real interesting and just speaks to how much talent is down here,
Hmm.
and not everything is centralized in like New York, Chicago, L.A.
Yeah.
There's talent everywhere, and there are wonderful opportunities for actors everywhere.
Hmm.
Um, you had mentioned in your Q&A earlier this morning that one of your first jobs out of college was actually working in arts administration.
Yes. Yes, it
So what was
was.
that like?
That was a very, very interesting experience. At first I wasn't sure I was really prepped for the job because I was an acting major. I had never done arts administration, but throughout college, my work study job was that I worked in the office of admissions and I helped vet incoming students and I did tours and I did community outreach and phone calls and things like that. And one of my professors right out of school, one of my directors at Columbus State, he offered me a job at Hope Repertory Theater where he was artistic director at the time for their summer season. So I was in one of their shows and I was an arts administration intern. And it was such an interesting experience because I was in the office during the day and then on the stage at night,
Right.
which was really fun. And we did so many things. We did community engagement with advertising, everything from like working in the community to like, oh, I'm setting up the housing that the acting company will be moving into. And I have Google spreadsheets of
Yeah.
all of the things I have to keep track of and where everyone's living and yeah, maintaining like a filing system for the company that summer. So it was a really interesting experience and I'm so grateful for it. So
It's real interesting, because most people, when they think of the arts, they think of what they see on stage or what they see in the exhibit or the concert that they go to, but they don't. A lot of people think this stuff just happens, and
mhm.
it doesn't. It takes a lot of work behind the scenes, and if you don't actually do it, you don't realize that it's there. But it's such a necessary fabric in the tapestry of art. And nobody, like I was saying, nobody says I want to go into arts administration when I grow up. But if you have the chance to do it, it's an incredibly rewarding thing. I actually got started in the arts in theater as
Mm,
well. My mother founded the community theater in my hometown, and I wanted to go and act on Broadway, and I had the good sense to realize at a fairly young age, I'm actually a terrible actor.
mm,
And so, what can I do and still be involved in the arts? And I kind of, like you, fell into arts administration, and it's one of the most rewarding things that I've ever done. I mean, this is my office this week, and
yeah.
it's phenomenal. And then in a couple of weeks, we do an art crawl, and after that, there's a museum opening, so we get to touch a little bit of everything, and it's just incredibly rewarding. So anybody that's out there that wants to go into the arts, consider arts administration. It's phenomenal.
Mm.
Um, but let's get back into performing. Uh, I am sorry, I'm going to repeat some of the questions that you get at every Q&A all week, but what was your first show that you performed in?
My first show that I performed in, I was 8 years old, and it was Seussical Jr. at the Artistic Civic Theater, which is a community theater in my hometown. That was the first one.
What roles did you play?
I was one of the Wickersham brothers. One of the
Okay.
yeah, that was me.
And did you think uh, where did Shakespeare factor into your journey? Was that something that was
Mm.
a goal of yours, like I want to do Shakespeare, or was it more of I'm looking for just any opportunity that provides me the opportunity to express myself and move forward in my career?
That's a great question. In high school, my drama director in high school, he loved Shakespeare, and we did a Shakespeare production every 2 years so that any student coming through the drama program would get to be in a Shakespeare play at one point. And during high school, didn't really get the hype of it. I
Yeah.
didn't love studying it in English class. I didn't love doing the production that I did in high school of Shakespeare. And so going into college, I really thought that musical theater would more be my vein, I suppose. But then when I decided to go into acting and that was my major, that's what I wanted to do. I discovered lots of Shakespeare things around my first, second years in college that really awoke a love of Shakespeare in me. One was like Patrick Page's podcast that he made during COVID, where he talks a lot about Shakespeare. Of the Andrew Scott production of Hamlet that aired on the BBC
Oh
was a
yeah.
huge inspiration for me. And then Ian McKellen's acting Shakespeare show that he did in the 80s, which you can find for free on YouTube. Like
Yeah.
I started watching these things and I was like, oh, there's really something to this. And the words and the imagery and the poetry like spoke to me so much. And I was like, okay, I'm in a very like contemporary acting program here in college. I want to see if I can like figure out a way to do Shakespeare like within this style that I'm learning here at college. And I did one production of Shakespeare in university. I did um Oh, what was it? A Midsummer Night's Dream. I did A Midsummer
Okay.
Night's Dream in college, and I was also in the honors program at Columbus State University, and so you have to have, like, an honors thesis at the end of your time there, where you, like, devise this whole project and you, like, do research and, like, how do things apply? Like, it stretches across majors, and mine was applying this very contemporary acting style that I was learning in drama school to the works of Shakespeare, and it was, like, a semester-long project that I did, and there's a big old paper on it that I wrote out there somewhere. If any of you want to find it, you could probably just look me up. And then one of my professors at CSU, he was also like a classics professor. We had a semester of Shakespeare, and he really encouraged us to apply for the study abroad program that CSU did at Oxford University in the summers to go and study Shakespeare, which I got to do as well. So slowly but surely, I weaseled my way in there, and that's how the love of it was born.
Well, you get to do quite a bit through TSF
Hmm.
in the summer residency, and then of course on this tour. Um, is there a particular performance or piece that you've contributed to TSF that sticks out for you right now?
Um, a performance or piece that sticks out to me. I think it's the Caesar that we're doing here on this tour right
Yeah,
now. With everything going on in the world, there's always something you can take away from a political thriller, and there are always characters within a political stratosphere that you may not necessarily align yourself with. And so doing a play that's so the politics is baked into the core of it, and but
yeah.
also the very human people that are in it. And so I hope people come to Caesar and both see themselves in it and are challenged by it. And I think we all do a really great job of advocating for all of our characters and bringing the truth to this scene as well as we can. So I'm very proud of the Caesar that we have concocted.
Well, you should be. It's a phenomenal piece. I really enjoyed watching you perform it this week. Matthew and Megan are really good at figuring out kind of what's going on in the world and selecting Shakespeare that is really relevant and of a specific time.
Yeah.
And every time the roadshow comes through here, there's always something that is relatable to the world around
Hmm.
us. So you've been doing this tour for about 5 weeks, 5,
Yeah,
6
4 to
weeks,
5
right?
weeks. Yeah.
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 And you've been pretty much all over Texas and you stopped in Arkansas and
Hmm.
Louisiana. You're uh, performing in schools, in cafeterias, in gymnasiums, and then you're wrapping your tour in this.
Yes.
What has it been like for you to perform here at the Globe Theater?
Let me tell you, because I have a really special story with this actually. Because on that Oxford study abroad program I told you, we had a weekend where we went to London,
Yeah.
and I went to the Globe and I saw Julius Caesar. And
No way.
we waited for 3 hours in line to be one of the groundlings, the first ones in the door. I stood right at the edge of the stage and with my elbows on the stage and watched the whole show.
Oh,
And
that's
so
amazing.
it's been this wonderful full circle moment. I love this space so much, and like how like alive it feels and how a part of this like 400-year-old tradition like that I feel that I am, and how it connects with every single person in the house, and there's no bad seats,
Mm-mm.
and there's so many entrances and exits, and the space comes alive with the words that we say. And so it's a real treasure to get to be here. So I'm in love with it. I don't know if you're gonna have
Yeah.
to roll me out of here, I
It,
suppose.
we
But
we seem to have that effect on a lot of the cast members that come through here,
hmm.
which is wonderful. It's such a great space, and we love when the tour ends here.
Hmm.
It doesn't always work out that way, but I think it's like a real special treat for the cast because touring is hard.
Hmm.
Touring is really hard. You're all in that van. You've got the set. You've got your luggage. You've got six other people in the van with you, and you're getting up at the crack of dawn,
Yeah.
it can be really tough. So I always hope that when you come here that it's rejuvenating in this breath of fresh air and you get to sit in one place,
Hmm. Yeah.
and perform for an entire week. Um, you said that you had gone started into musical theater.
Hmm.
What's a musical that you have not done yet that is on your bucket list?
Oh my goodness. What musicals on my bucket list that I haven't done? I think. We were chatting about Sondheim earlier. In
Yes.
college, Sunday in the Park with George is
Yes.
one of my favorites. Give me a decade and I'll be ready to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I love the work of Sondheim, and all of his musicals I think are ecstatic. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I sometimes get a little bit of flack for this because Sondheim doesn't have the 400-year legacy that Shakespeare does,
Yeah.
but I truly think he is the Shakespeare musical theater.
Wow, that's astounding that you would say that, because I had a classmate and she would say the exact same thing, and
Yeah.
I agree with you completely that
It's
he is.
you know, his lyrics are amazing, and he gets a lot of credit for that. But also, his melodies are just
Mm,
so beautiful in the way that he marries those, and in a lot of ways, that's like Shakespeare writing in iambic pentameter. You have to have this rhythm that is sometimes lacking in other musicals,
yeah.
and so I just really think that as he is the American Shakespeare. You
Mhm.
know, uh, Musicals are such a truly American art form, and he is our Shakespeare. Um, you did the summer residency at Kilgore. What were the shows you were in?
I was in Kiss Me Kate, Cole
Hmm.
Porter musical, Twelfth Night, and Macbeth.
Macbeth is
Yes.
my favorite Shakespeare
Mm,
ever,
lovely.
ever, ever.
Yeah.
What did you play in Macbeth?
I played Lennox, who's one
Oh,
of the Thanes and attends to Macbeth throughout the play.
yeah.
That's who I played.
What are the challenges that you have converting and being able to get the story of Julius Caesar, for example, since we're
Mhm.
talking about that, you're having to condense that into basically an hour
Yeah.
for field trips and for students that are coming in, and you've got this very dense, very politically motivated show, and you've got to get all of that in an hour with only seven cast members
Mm.
playing multiple roles. What do you think the biggest challenges for the company are with that?
That's a great question. I think staying on top of the action as much as possible, and with the multiple roles, really staying rooted in your wants and your relationships in those specific scenes to make them different and also intelligible to the audience members. And I think, well, a really great thing that we've had, because we have to cut it down, is we really, even though some of the poetry has to be sacrificed, we're really hitting like the strongest beats one after another and making it a very, very clear and concise story. So though we are sacrificing some of the text and scenes, making it really concise allows for a really nice flow to it. And all we have to do as actors really is ride that wave and stay on top of it. And the text will take care of us as long as we do our homework and take care of each other. So,
Well, Keenan, I know that you and the rest of the cast have a very busy week
mm,
doing all of these. 12 performances, two workshops, and you took the time today to sit down and talk to us on Art After Dark. So thank you very
yeah,
much for that. Thank you for the gift of your talent in this space, and I can't wait to see what you do with the rest of the week.
of course. Thank you so much, Randy. It's been a pleasure.
All right. Thank you so much. Join us next time when we continue our chats here at the Globe Theater as a part of the celebration of the Odessa Shakespeare Festival's 10th anniversary. Good night.